Welcome back, ladies and gents. Today is OPP Global again, and we're joined by Amir, Anna, and Jared.
That's my first one.
Today, I'm your host, Aboud, and we are going to have some articles that we're going to discuss from around the globe. One of them is actually from Anna. I'm very excited to check it out. And it's going to be an interesting few articles that we're going to give our 2 cents on. All that right after the intro.
Did we just intro the intro?
We just intro the intro. There's a lot of people who intro the intro.
That's so meta.
Yeah, I like meta things actually. So
who came up with the intro? It's really cool.
Yeah.
I hired someone. So
Aboud works very hard on them.
Alrighty, let's go for your article, Anna. This is what we have. Okay, well, this one, right? Oh, I actually?
No, you didn't bring it up correctly. Aboud, how could you?
I have it. Don't worry.
You have betrayed us all.
We have it right here. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
That's it. Yep.
Canada has universal health coverage. So why is a new miracle drug so hard to get? What can you? Oh, Anna Gordon, The Pulse. Or is this that? Oh, is that?
No, I mean it's the WHYY. Yeah.
Excuse me.
We were just talking about that, Aboud. Pay attention.
Excuse me, I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What can you tell us about this, Anna? Sounds really interesting.
So basically, there's this disease called cystic fibrosis. If you haven't heard of it, it's a genetic disease. It affects, in the United States, it affects about 30,000 people. And I think in the world, it affects about 70,000 people. And it was a very brutal disease. It's caused by this defect in your cells. And it makes it so that the cells can't transport like salt properly. So it causes all these horrific imbalances in your body. And like the average life expectancy for kids with this disease used to be like 5 years old, but slowly it's been getting better as doctors have had more treatments. And I think right now the average life expectancy is like 47, but it's still a really brutal condition. And it's especially bad for your lungs because what happens is this mucus clogs your lungs and you can't breathe and you slowly suffocate to death. It's a really horrible disease. And a really big thing happened in the past couple years, which is this drug got approved that essentially fixes the broken protein in the cell. So at the fundamental level, it fixes the problem basically. And so long as you take this pill every single day, it's like you don't even have symptoms for some people of this disease. It's that powerful. And it's really crazy because this is for people who have been told their whole lives that they're going to die when they're 40. And now all of a sudden they might live a normal life. Like it's a really big deal. I mean, they spend hours a day sometimes on breathing treatments just to help. And so now suddenly there's this one pill that is working extremely, extremely well. And
what did that cost?
And it costs $360,000 a year. And so there's which has caused a lot of problems. Strangely enough, in the United States, I think because of Obamacare, insurance can't outright deny you. So between Obamacare and Medicare and all these things, people in the United States, for the most part, have been able, not everyone, but for the most part, have been able to access the drug. But in other countries, like in New Zealand and in Canada, which is what my story is about this person in Canada who couldn't get this drug, the government has refused to pay such a high price for the medicine because even though they have like this universal health care coverage, they said, why should we pay? This is so overpriced. It's clearly the company is trying to exploit the price. It definitely doesn't cost them $360,000 to make the drug, right? So, and if you read this story, it kind of tells how this guy, the lengths he went to get this medication and how his life changed when he went on it. And also there's still people in Canada who don't have access, and there's people who are dying while waiting for this drug, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And why is it so expensive? Because of like the research behind it, or
manufacturing costs. Maybe the ingredients are expensive, but also there's also an issue in North America, especially where pharmaceutical companies will literally just jack up the price because they can, because they're the only company that sells it.
Yeah, so
they
here's
can do
the
what they
thing.
want.
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically that's what's going on here is the company that made this drug, they have a monopoly, and they're the only people, they have a patent which like allows them the sole rights to create this drug, so they can basically make it as expensive as they want.
Yeah.
And their argument,
Monopolies make cats very sad.
Yeah, they're bad. But their argument for why they need to make it so expensive is so that they can fund future drugs, because there were so many failed drugs up until this point, which is an argument I don't totally buy into, because also a ton of the funding for this drug came from a charity. So, you know, you can make what you want of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does definitely sound like it's something that, you know, the world needs. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And it is a really happy story. If you ever just want to like feel happy for a day, you can just Google. The name of the drug is called Trikafta, and there are just tons of these YouTubers who just made these videos about how happy they are once they started taking it and how their lives have changed. And it's like a really happy story when you see those stories. Like it's really
similar to like
Yeah,
like medicinal cannabis. With people with severe epilepsy and stuff like that, and epileptic fits, seizures, stuff like that. You know, cannabis has been to help.
it does sound like that.
Yeah, I just think that in these cases, you know, there must be something that we can do as a society to put pressure on both the government and the drug companies to reduce the price and to get it out there to the people that need it. I'm not too sure how it works in the UK. We have an NHS system over there, public system, but I'm not too sure how much those kind of drugs would cost over there, and if they are getting to the right people or not. I think it's scandalous that's actually happening over there in Canada, and you know, something that definitely needs to be done about it.
Yeah, so actually it is available in the UK, and it's available in Israel as well, but I've heard that it's not available in the Palestinian territories, which is a big problem too.
Yeah.
Wow, it's sad because I can see a lot of people are calling it gift and miracle. So.
I mean, it literally, like, they had this horrific, like, they couldn't breathe, that severe of a disease, and now it's just like, it's almost gone. I mean, it's not a cure, but it's like the next best thing, you know? So it's really a breakthrough in
treatment.
And in medicine in general, because treating a disease specifically for a mutation is kind of a unique thing. So it gives people in medicine in general a lot of hope for other future drugs like Alzheimer's and other issues where there's a broken protein. So it's really exciting on that frontier too.
Yeah. There was a line in the article that kind of struck out to me where the dude said, like, people in if you can pull it up, Abood. I think it's towards the beginning of it what is the name of the man? Jaramillo? I assume it's a Spanish name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jaramillo said people in Canada live 10 years longer than their counterparts in the States, and that was a source of pride. That's a very Canadian thing to say, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Canadians are notorious for everything about them they compare to America. No Americans finds it as a source of pride that they do something better than Canada. But Canadians, everything they have is based off of how does it compare to Americans? They're very insecure about how American they are. I just like to point that out. Because I mean, who says that though? Oh yeah, no, it's a source of pride for me as a Canadian that our people with cystic fibrosis used to live 10 years longer than the Americans. Who says that? But
I agree. It's a bit of a ridiculous statement. Although I know Brits sometimes look at the French and look at their life expectancies.
And compare that.
You know, look at those French with their healthy, glass of wine a day, and they live until they're 80, 90, and us Brits don't do as well.
Yeah. And us Brits, we don't live for 50 years. I mean, unless we're the Queen, then we live forever. I mean, that's where all the healthcare goes. It goes right to the royal family.
It goes right to her,
yeah.
Or you're Japanese or something. Anyways, guys, thank you so much, and it was a really interesting article. Definitely world-changing. So, all right, we're going to move to the next one. Amir, I believe that this one you shared. It's from BBC 3 days
yes.
ago.
Yes.
A bidder,
Yeah.
or I think I actually looked it up. So it's a bidder who pays 28 million for space trip with Amazon's Bezos. So
yeah,
Jeff Bezos is actually doing a space tourism, if you heard. And it was a bid, an auction of 28 million. Space tourism, what do you think, guys? Is it something sounds interesting?
It's such a waste of money.
I was literally just about to say, this is such a good example of income inequality in our modern world. Like we
couldn't think of anything better to do, really.
Yeah, I was like to say, when you get to a certain point where you have so much money, what else is there? Like you can't feasibly spend it, so you might as well go to space.
But wait a minute, guys.
Or
guys,
you could
wait
help
a minute.
all the hungry people in the world.
That's true.
Wait
It
a
is
minute,
true.
though, guys. Wait a minute, guys. Can I just give a little counter argument? I agree that it's capitalism on steroids, and it's completely absurd that this amount of money is being spent on a little flight into orbit. But having said that, space exploration is like the new frontier. And just earlier today, I was watching streams live on YouTube of like spacewalks going on the International Space Station. There's even live streams of, the Mars rover. You can literally see Mars from your phone.
I know.
Incredible. So I think space exploration is very, very key to understanding the future, and maybe is our next frontier and the next place that we're set to explore. So the argument is the private industry taking over there okay? You know, is it okay for these companies to come in with all these millions and Bezos fly out there for 28 billion?
I mean, look, but there's the difference between what a government-funded National Space Agency does and what a private corporation does. Because like the Blue Origins, they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for NASA and the taxpayer-funded like advancements in science and space technology that we have. Like they wouldn't exist. Like Blue Origins does not exist for the purpose of advancing our knowledge of space or of our solar system or knowledge of our universe or finding out anything new.
And like SpaceX.
Hold on. The cat's in my lap. She likes me more than you.
She's a whore, so don't get a big head.
You do. They can hear you. My mom's in trouble. She's mad. She's mad. The cat's on my lap. But yeah, like it's like SpaceX, Blue Origins. They are companies, and companies' purpose first and foremost is profit. Research isn't profitable unless you can sell it. That's why they're only taking people up there into low Earth orbit and then bringing them back down. They're not going to be sending drones to Mars. They're not going to be taking like soil samples from Europa.
Wait a minute.
That's all going to be NASA and like
Jeff
the European
Bezos
Space
have
Agency.
this grandiose plan of sending humans.
He says that, but I don't trust him. I don't trust rich people to like advance humanity.
Jared, what about asteroid mining? Okay, our resources are limited on Earth. You know, the gold, the metals that are here on Earth are limited, and asteroids provide basically unlimited, resource. So there's we definitely need to be putting money into space.
Of course, I'm not saying that.
Especially as the populace is growing and growing and growing, and space is going to be the next frontier. That's
unpopular opinion, but I kind of feel like you can start looking at space exploration when you start after we finish like all like figuring out how to solve like world poverty, like then we can go to space. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I agree with you on that, Anna. We can figure out asteroid mining once we figure out how to eliminate poverty. Because I
agree with you on that, Anna. I agree with you on that. But at the same time, right, isn't creating jobs for the space exploration and for asteroid mining and for space tourism going to help get people out of poverty?
Or you could make those same jobs, but make them, working in poverty alleviation. Exactly. Like you could literally create jobs if these billionaires instead decided to make it a nonprofit devoted to poverty alleviation, which some of them have done, like Bill Gates has done that, right? Yeah. But it's still not enough. There's so much work
I
to be
think
done
it's
there.
about I think it's about long-term solutions versus short-term solutions, because if you have hunger in the world and you want to solve it by donating money, I think it's a short-term solution, because what's going to happen in the end, guys, if you think about it, we're going to have something like overpopulation, but also tourism isn't necessarily solved. Why can't we find a long-term solution where we have a lot of resources or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on the subject, but
I know, but I mean, also, Abu, when it comes to overpopulation, I mean, people who study the statistics of human population growth for a living have said, like, we're never going to get to, like, a point where we won't be able to feed people. I mean, like, they have already said, like, like the 12th billion person will never be born. We're almost at, like, peak of how many humans we're going to have until
I do agree hunger doesn't make
stays
sense.
stable or it goes down. When it comes to hunger, So, I mean,
I'm
like,
just saying I do
overpopulation is not
agree.
going to be much of an issue.
Jared, I'm saying I do agree. There is definitely like the amount of hungry people around the world doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
But it's a really tricky thing to know what's the short term versus the long term.
I get you, Abood. I get you. My
that.
argument to Anna would be, side by side with space exploration, we can be solving crises like conflict and hunger and poverty at the same time. It goes hand in hand. Like, if you look at the best way to get people out of poverty, right, as much as people complain about capitalism and its issues, which of course it does have, it is the system that got the most people out of poverty the quickest, So I do think the creation of new jobs, the creation of, like you said, creation of new jobs in the private sector goes hand in hand with, jobs and roles within the non-profit as well.
Yeah,
so
but it also depends on where do those new jobs go.
Exactly.
That's another enormous factor.
My argument to that is that we always have a finite number of resources, right? Like it's not. I don't think it's like, oh, we can just do both, because if we could just do both, then world poverty would be solved already, and it's not. So you do at some point have to pick one, because there's always a choice. There's actually like an organization. If you've ever heard of this movement called effective altruism, it's a really interesting kind. Maybe we could do an episode on it. They literally like rank, like what are the best ways to donate your money and things like that, and try to figure out like dollars per life saved. What's the most effective thing to do?
Cool. It's a studied plan or something.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'll send you. I can send the link.
What do you think of that, Nixie? What do you think? She likes the idea. I'm just saying, cats get views, so I'm thinking, well, if I have Nixie on camera, we're gonna get a lot of subscribers. Isn't that right, Nixie?
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like.
Leave a like, comment, hit the bell,
for that cat.
Share. Share. If you viewer Billy, if you share this video, I will put Nixie in more videos.
Okay.
Have we got the next article, Abood?
We got it. Let's go. So this time we have. Let's see. Okay, so this is kind of like currency and blockchain. It's like a fancy word. We're not gonna go deep, but I would like to hear about your guys' opinions about, like, do you think crypto is the future, or is it just? Did you read about it? Do you think it's something that can improve our lives? Because here it says, let's just read like this, like coding, digital assets like Bitcoin, Edelman said, are different from stocks, bonds, real estate, oil, gold, etc. And he says here, and also other traditional assets, because they are non-correlated. So this means the resistance to larger market fluctuations make them a valuable investment opportunity for investors looking to diversify their portfolios.
Exactly, for investors. I don't think it's going to be something used by the wider population. And this is this is my main reason for why I don't think everybody will be using Bitcoin or whatever. We're still going to have dollars and euros and pounds, because dollars and euros and pounds are controlled by a central bank. And the reason why we have these central banks is so that way the government or governing authority can look at the state of the economy and adjust inflation levels. Right. You can't control the inflation levels on a cryptocurrency. They're kind of locked in place. So
Really?
and
Because-
yeah, and I mean, but
I thought
the
there's a
reason why that's
finite
important-
amount of.
yeah,
like,
There
yeah,
is finite and
that's
there's
why
infinite,
but that's kind of why the inflation rate is locked in there. I mean, look at
it's
like
yeah.
I was gonna say, just my quick example was look at Greece and the Greek debt crisis. Like, if one of the biggest issues with them and why they couldn't manage it was because they didn't have direct control over the euro.
It's true.
Because if they had direct control over the euro, they would have devalued the euro to make it a bit easier on themselves to pay off their debt. But they couldn't, so they were just kind of stuck. And I don't think that's why any big government will just straight up adopt a blockchain-based cryptocurrency, because like you can't devalue it. Like,
Look,
if there was a way to devalue it, then it loses its, like, what makes it a cryptocurrency.
Look, but
Which is decentralized.
Jared, the way the technology works is it's way safer and way smarter than traditional cash and traditional currencies.
Yeah.
So
I'm not denying that.
Yeah, so once people do clock on to the idea and to the potential, and like you said, Anna, you know, solving poverty, if you're asking me, crypto can be huge in that, right? Because anyone can get a smartphone these days. So you can get Africa online and get people into trading and cryptos, and you're basically spreading wealth around the globe instead of keeping it in the hands of billionaires and millionaires who hold a lot of whatever currency they hold. It's a currency that will be like, you know, can be accessed by anyone anywhere on the world at any time.
Global
so
currency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it
I
has
feel like-
huge potential.
I feel like it's almost a way to use cash on the internet. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to you don't-
Digitally, right? So that's the
yeah,
idea.
basically, like you don't have to have those. It's
think-
definitely.
Sure.
Or continue what you're gonna say.
No, I think that the most effective until what I'm seeing right now from crypto is that we have really old systems of like bankings, like to send money around from banks around the world, from bank to bank from around the world. So there are some new crypto technologies that are introducing a way so you can actually move money or value. It's called also the Internet of Value. You can move it instantly almost. You see what I mean? But yeah, our old financial system in banks has to go to another bank and to another bank and to another bank. It's really costly and it's really slow. So that's what I think is going to be very, very, very useful. So
Also, in countries where the currency is really destabilized, like in Venezuela or even
Yeah.
I think Zimbabwe had issues. Like, I could see crypto becoming really huge in those kinds of places.
Yeah. But I mean, like that's kind of the thing that I mean. Like, I'm not saying crypto has no use. I'm saying like it'll be used by the average person as a supplement in the future. I don't think we're going to look, because people are talking about it as if they're going to replace our traditional currencies. I don't think they will. Governments are still going to want their currencies so that way they can have, some measure of influence on the economy. I mean, that's basically the reason why we have governments in this day and age, to help manage the economy, But I do think crypto is going to be a great supplement in the future once we get some infrastructure on how
it's in
to
early
spend
stages,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely in its
Are you
early
g-
stages. So.
Are you guys investing in crypto?
I have a little bit,
Something.
just have a little bit, not much.
Same.
Like a long-term investment. So I'm looking at XRP, if you want to be more specific. I like this currency. It's like moving money between banks.
Ah,
But anyway,
interesting.
it's like the Internet of Value. So it's really interesting. Look it up, XRP. Or
I
Ripple.
lost money from crypto, so I'm a little bitter. But I'm kind of hoping in the long run it'll come back. We'll see.
For sure. All right. Okay, let's go for the next one. We have we haven't talked about biology here in a long time, so it's an interesting one. I'm not sure who shared this one. This is 7th of June. This is from BBC also, Science and
I
Biology.
love this one. Yeah.
Let's see, Jared, how do you pronounce this one? Bedeloid? What? Deloid? Deloid. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Deloid
He
Rotifer
doesn't
survived
pronounce it.
24,000 years frozen in Siberia.
Yeah, that's crazy. 24,000 years and then it comes back to life. That's
Back to life. It blows your mind, doesn't it? Blows it. What is going to be possible?
What is a deloid?
I think this is the code that we should read.
It's like a very, very small early like it says there, very like an early multicellular organism.
Oh.
Tells here the takeaway is that a multicellular organism can be frozen and stored as such for thousands of years and then return back to life.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very early form of multicellular life that got frozen way back when and just like is in cryosleep, essentially.
Kind of reminds me.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know the good words, so.
Yeah, I'm really interested in I think there was some people. I don't know what company kind of sent some frozen bodies in space. Did you ever hear about that?
That sounds like something the Soviets would have done just to see what happens.
If it's a conspiracy. I'm sure it's not a conspiracy.
There are these people who have you heard of cryonics? They're these companies that will freeze your body when you die so that one day in the future, in 500 years, you can if the technology is there, they can unfreeze you.
Oh yeah, that's a scam.
Yeah, and it costs many hundreds of thousands of dollars, but people pay for it.
Look, if you or your loved one is thinking about freezing your corpse when you die, don't do it. It's a waste of money. When the brain's dead and deteriorated, there's nothing you can do.
They freeze the brain.
Just because the brain's frozen doesn't mean you can turn it back on. Dude, brain matter, that stuff deteriorates very quickly. It is very difficult to fix a nervous system, let alone the brain.
When we die forever.
Yeah. When you're dead, you're dead. I mean, really, if you want to know how to be immortal, you have to learn how to fix telomeres.
I would like to have a philosophical conversation about that one day, Anna. It's when you die forever, but forever doesn't exist when you're dead. So.
Well, yeah.
I always thought it was just before you're born. That's how it is after you die. You just
that's what the Church of Finland thinks about it.
Someone's made a good point here.
Wait, I want to hear your opinion, Aboud. You should tell us.
Yeah. What's the Samaritan opinion on death?
On death, I think it's just there is this concept of heaven, but it was not mentioned in the Torah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We have some sages who talked about some going after being dead, there is some kind of a rebirth, but the same body. But these are only poems from not really prophets, we would say, our sages who kind of intuited this from God, but it's not from the Torah. So there's I think there's disagreement a little bit, 100%. So it's I think it's a cool thing, The Torah never really said that we're coming back.
Yeah, that was something that I noticed in the Torah, even when I was a kid and I was kind of religious, and I was
just return to mud, right?
Yeah.
That's what
from dust we are made, to dust we shall return. That's kind of the way I've always viewed it.
And Dillo here.
Yeah, I mean, my grandfather, Zichrono Livracha, before he passed, the man was a joker. He would sitting there in his little hospital bed in hospice care, asking my grandmother and my aunts, "How will I know when I'm dead?"
Ooh,
yeah,
deep.
Yeah, it's the kind of man he was.
Aboud,
how will I know when I'm dead?
Have you heard about this? Someone mentioned it in the comments. There's a jellyfish that there's been research done on that is immortal. It can basically regenerate itself and just live forever. So,
what kind of an organism is that?
Well, jellyfish are very unique.
Oh, yeah, I do heard about that. I heard they're kind of immortal in some ways biologically. Yeah, I heard about.
Yeah, there's a specific one. There's a specific species that knows how to regenerate itself, and I'm sure scientists are doing research into figuring out exactly how that can be done.
Who did people think was Hindu?
They thought Aboud was Hindu.
Oh, they thought Aboud was Hindu.
Hindu?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, they thought you were a Hindu. That's weird.
I'm not a Hindu. No.
All right.
I did read a little bit of Hindu philosophy, but no, I'm not a Hindu.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go for the next one if you're ready, guys. So this one we finished. We have, we definitely don't want, yes, I'm happy, cookies, no problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, the Uyghurs.
China's Uyghurs.
Uyghur.
Uyghurs.
Uyghur? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Uyghur. It's a
China's
weird
Uyghurs.
spelling.
Living in a dystopian hellscape, says
Yeah.
Amnesty report. Anyone hear about this? What is this exactly? Is it like a prison, like a
Um,
concentration camp, or what?
It's
Yeah.
they're basically concentration
Right, I heard
camps
about
in
this. Yeah.
in Western China. There's all right. So
From
for
The
people who
Guardian.
don't know, the Uyghurs are a primarily Muslim Turkic minority ethnic group in the Xinjiang province of China, which is all the way in the west. And well, the Chinese government isn't very happy that these people are there. They don't look Chinese. They're historically their ability to speak Mandarin has been eh. So they've been kind of a separate thing, and the Chinese government is working very hard to fix that by making them not exist anymore. Either by killing them, either by disappearing them in the middle of the night, or taking them to re-education centers, which are brainwashing concentration camps to remove them of their Uyghur identity and separate them as far as they can from their culture and forcibly assimilate them to Chinese. And this is a point that I want to bring up, is that because when I look at genocide isn't just killing the people of a culture; it's removing that culture by force. And if one of those methods is forced assimilation.
Yeah, I
So
think it
this-
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think something that it's really interesting because my roommate's from China, so she's kind of had I've gotten to hear a little bit of what the story is or lack of story that's being told
Is it mainland
within
China?
From mainland China.
Okay.
It's really disturbing and tragic. I think a lot of people in mainland China are not aware this is going on. And I also, from what I understand, there were some terrorist attacks by some extremist Uyghurs about 10 to 20 years ago. I might be incorrect on that, so people double check me. But that's kind of being partly used to justify why they need re-education.
Yeah, I mean, that is the story that's been told, and at this point, I mean, it's probably happened. There are extremist Uyghur terrorist groups that are fighting, for separation from China, which is a whole separate issue. But either way, fighting a terrorist group does not condone
Genocide.
Yeah, exactly. People use the word.
Sick. Listen,
Listen,
it's absolutely sick what is going on over there, Jared. Well, we got to make this point.
Yeah.
We got to get it out there. It's absolutely sick, and something needs to be done to stand up to the CCP who are doing this to the Uyghur people. My sister, Uyghur neighbor in London, and she's told.
Can we get a picture of Winnie the Pooh on the screen, Abood?
What's how do you pronounce that?
Winnie the Pooh. Can you get a picture of Winnie the Pooh on the screen?
Wait a minute, Jared. What does Winnie the Pooh have anything to do now with Uyghurs?
Yeah, because Winnie the Pooh is a joke meme of people who make fun of the leader of China, Xi Jinping, because they say he looks like Winnie the Pooh, so he banned Winnie the Pooh all over mainland China. So now it's become a form of online resistance to the CCP.
I see.
Having Winnie the Pooh everywhere. So how about this? Until the Uyghurs are freed, whenever we talk about the CCP, Abood, can you put a Winnie the Pooh up? A big
Tell me how
yellow
to
bear.
pronounce that.
Oh, it's spelled WINNIE space the.
Okay, I found it.
You found it? Yeah, it's a yellow bear with a red T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, well, of course we know this bear. I mean,
yeah, it's in English called Winnie the Pooh. There he is.
Okay, what's wrong with this guy? Or what's
There's nothing wrong with this guy. People think he looks like the president of China.
Okay, I said what's wrong because you were like, show me Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, I was saying show me. Yeah, because it's a form of online resistance against the CCP. Because the leader of China, people made a joke way back when the president of China, Xi Jinping, looks like Winnie the Pooh, and because he's such a sensitive man baby, he banned all images of Winnie the Pooh in China. So now it's a form of online resistance to just annoy the man by showing Winnie the Pooh everywhere. Even within China, people have Winnie the Pooh mugs. They'll take pictures with the mugs just to annoy the president if they don't like him. So, yeah, so it's a form of online resistance. But yeah,
Everything-
but I mean, Amir, you're right. We need to. Sorry, Anna. I was just gonna say Amir is absolutely correct. We need to denounce it, and we do. I mean,
No,
I don't-
but more than
yeah.
Jared, more than that, okay? I'm fed up, right? The fact that China are doing this to people is absolutely sickening. And where is the rest of the world in coming out and denouncing it and doing something about it? It's all talk. It's all talk. Is anyone actually there on the ground? Apart from like a few really brave independent journalists who go over there and kind of risk themselves to go over. We really need to get independent observers over there.
Well, I mean, that's part of the issue, Amir. I mean, the CCP controls the country so tightly. Getting in is very difficult, and they have people all over the internet. I highly doubt, after what we just said here, any of us would be allowed within China.
I don't think they're that sophisticated.
No, their system is very robust at protecting the state.
Okay, that's just not true, because the way they censor is they have an algorithm, and they're mostly censoring their own people in China, right? My roommate's from there, so I've heard like lots of stories, and she's been censored for criticizing Xi Jinping during the pandemic, but she still goes back to China. So like, I think we'll be okay talking in English,
Yeah. There's for our viewers, there's a channel that I've been watching where it's an American man who lived in China for like 20 years or something. He has a Chinese wife, speaks Chinese fluently. I believe his channel's name is Laowai. I want Abood to put a link up if anybody wants to watch, so you can get a feel for how China works.
Okay.
Yeah. Laowai 86. I'm gonna send this link to you, Abood.
Sure.
No.
I do want to visit China one day.
Oh, I absolutely do. But
yeah,
I've seen China, but I haven't been in China, so I missed out.
Which country were you in to see it?
I was in Vietnam, and from the Fancy Pan Mountain, we went up the highest mountain there, and from the top, you can see like Yunnan province, which is like where Shangri-La is, and it's one of the most beautiful places in the whole of China. And unfortunately, I was backpacking after, young, and I didn't really have that much money, and I kind of was like, I'll get there another time, But that's the mistake.
I sent it in the comments.
You should go.
Yeah.
If you're close,
you
should
check
just go.
Yeah.
It's in the comments.
Check out that channel. Laowai86 is a man who lived in China for 20 years, speaks Chinese fluently, has a Chinese family, lives in America now. He basically got chased out. If you really want to know what it's like in China, listen to him. He knows it way better than I do. Way better than any of us do. He lived there. So, yeah.
Wow, guys, we're on fire tonight. Some intense news.
Yeah, some people. There was a question somebody asked a way up. I think the account was called Jordan. Somebody asked, should the U.S. boycott the Olympics next year? For what reason, Jordan?
Is it in China? I'm guessing.
No, they're in Japan, like Tokyo.
Japan, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would we boycott Japan?
That's my question.
Is it for the pandemic? Do you mean maybe?
Yeah, it might be. I
No,
don't know. Jordan,
no,
if you're still watching, elaborate on your question and we'll answer it. What were you saying, Anna?
Oh, I thought they were referring to the Olympics, because there's like going to be a Winter Olympics next year.
Yeah.
Right?
To protest human rights abuses in Japan.
No, he's saying in the world. He's saying in the world.
In the
he's saying,
world.
Don't take part. He's saying like, I get what you're saying. If you're taking part in the Olympics and China's taking part in the Olympics, then you're like, I get what he's saying.
Yeah, and the Olympics next year are in Japan, not China, I believe.
But that's the Olympics this year.
Yeah,
because there's a Winter Olympics next year.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna Google that Winter Olympics.
He's saying Winter Olympics, Beijing 2022.
It is in Beijing. Yeah, no, maybe we should. That's actually a good point. Beijing 2022. Yeah, you're right, Jordan. I thought you were talking about the one in Tokyo.
All right.
Maybe we should.
Maybe. And maybe we should move to the next article, which is super interesting, especially for those people who like archaeology. Amir, I think you sent this. This is basically a 7,000-year-old seal sheds light on business activities in ancient Israel. Super interesting. So there's like some 150 clay ceilings were found in an excavation conducted by Hebrew University archaeologists, and it says here it's like I don't know if this is the real picture. It's Silos at Tel Saf. I think it is.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the real
yeah.
picture, Abood.
I think I've been there.
Ah.
It's near where your family is from, up in the Beth
Yeah,
Shan, Emikumaya North.
it's up near there. Yeah, I've been there.
So what's a seal exactly? Like a
seal, like it's like a stamp of approval that represents an official authority. You know how
Okay.
like kings used to have royal seals they would put on documents to say this message is directly from the king or whatever.
interesting.
And you would write
Yeah.
down like what you're trading and what you're doing. So seals are kind of proof of some type of trade that they even had there with even other cultures that were in the area. So if we're looking at this article, to think that there are seals from 7,000 years ago, so
crazy.
that's like 3,000 years before even biblical time, before Canaanite time in the land. So it's a real great insight into how people lived coming out of the hunter-gatherer stage into
I don't even think like when
civilization.
was language invented? Like 10,000
Like,
years ago?
Language? No, we've been speaking language for like long time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like
like-
we're not
verbal
even
language.
sure. Yeah, we're not even sure
Writing
what it
started
is.
like 5,000 years ago, but I think
Still-
language evolved
I think even
between
older.
50,000 and 150,000 years ago,
I
according
meant
to
writing.
Google.
Okay. Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
like writing language.
Oh, yeah. Writing is like 5,000-ish, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Those finds are crazy. So
Oldest writing
5,500,
in the world.
according to Google.
Yeah,
Right.
it is indeed.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
is.
Sumerian, the Sumerian, and then Akkadian
Yeah.
cultures. That kind of
Yeah.
okay.
predated our cultures over in Iraq and Mesopotamia.
Wow. Would love to see what else is going to be uncovered. Because I think uncovering our past is. I think it's some people underestimate how important it is. For how people lived and how we evolved, like economically, technologically. It's important to see how people started. I don't think we have all the puzzles solved at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Sure. So the next, does anyone know? Oh, this is from the Daily Mail, UK.
Yeah.
Ready for this? So I think Amir, you sent this one. Okay, wait, is this the link exactly?
Yeah.
My
Yeah, what is this?
computer is dying.
So
Well,
this is
that's great.
I'm trying to see where is the okay, this is the title. Okay,
Yes.
First new British news network in 24 years takes to the airwaves as station boss Andrew Nail tells viewers, if it matters to you, it matters to us, and vows to tackle cancel culture, saying now is the time to do news differently. Do news differently. What do you mean? What do you think he means?
So this is a huge article coming out of the UK, which is kind of like taking a fight to the cancel culture that is coming out of America, really, and has kind of seeped over into the UK culture as well. Andrew Neil is like, a decorated presenter and interviewer. So he's obviously, partnered up with a few people to create this GB News channel, which I guess, doing news in a different way. I guess they're going to try and get people on with really differing opinions and have really, good debates and arguments over things. Show people things that they're not really seeing anymore. So I think it's really good for the actual media society and community, if you like, because people are bored of the same old BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Sky News narratives that seem to all fall in line with each other a little bit. So
Good point.
Maybe people will find GB News very interesting, and it will have an impact far and wide.
Wow. Technically, that's what we're trying to do with this global. We're not exactly doing news. We're kind of doing meta news, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're commentating. We're commentating on the news, and we're giving our 2 cents and our opinion on it, for sure.
Really cool one. All right. Anyone else have to say something?
Yeah, for sure. There was. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
No, just check the chat.
Okay, so yeah, the MBS. We mean like
Someone
you
asked to
send the link.
comment on.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
Okay, let me
there's
put
someone in
this
the
up.
comments who asked to talk about apparently MBS, who is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. They call him MBS. He made some
Extremist and Islamic
comments.
laws cause stir. Whoa, from Saudi Arabia. That's oof. So he's not afraid to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's not afraid to say that because this is in Saudi Arabia, and there
Well,
tends
he's
to
the
be a
Crown
little bit-
Prince, so he's like the
Wow.
leader.
But wait, what exactly did he say? I don't get it. What
I
did
think
say?
he said that only like 10%. So I think
It says causes stir, so it
So
stirs
let's
people
see.
or
Let's
something.
so
Mine-
let's read.
let's read the thing and see what it
Yeah,
says.
let's read. So it says here,
All right,
activists
so we're reading
interpret
about
Crown.
MBS.
Yeah, it's in the private chat. So activists interpret Crown Prince's comments in interview as justifying killing dissidents, while others criticize his understanding of religious text. So basically, he says that like people are using the text wrong, the Quran may be wrong or something like that to some people. He also says here extremists to face full force of law. So he says that there's extremists, and then we have to deal with them with full forces of law, right? Extremist in all things is wrong, and our Prophet Muhammad talked in one of his hadiths about a day when extremists will surface, and he ordered them killed when they do so, he said. So that's the MBS. What does MBS stand for?
Muhammad bin
Muhammad
Muhammad bin
Salman.
Salman, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
he's the Crown Prince of Saudi.
But see, I think Abu, do you not think that, like, on the one hand, talking about doing the right thing and being humane,
Mhm.
killing extremists, isn't that extreme in itself? Like, I did read an article recently of a Shia man who was recently killed in Saudi Arabia, and there's been a big outcry over it. They have a small Shia community over there in part of the country that they're kind of at war with the populace. And I just think that, in the modern day society, a modern world, maybe there's other ways to deal with things and extremists than just killing. I don't think that's the way forward. There must be rehabilitation process and things that you can do. Now, of course, somebody who's committed a mass shooting in America or a crazy terrorist attack, of course that person needs to be dealt with, right? But my thing is, can we catch these extremists and these radicalized people before they do something? So when they're just showing the signs of the radicalization, when they're showing the signs of extremism, that's where you get to them and try and change their tune and try and get them to see a different light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a challenging topic because Amir is like, there is also the thing, the what's the name of, like, there's the fact of fear, and if you do this, you might get, hanged or killed or on the chair, so if you say that there is no more, how do you say, consequences of basically, what's it called, death penalty. I'm not saying there should be or there shouldn't be. I'm just saying if we completely say there's no death penalty, are the crime scenes going to increase or what's going to happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really
Well,
tricky subject.
Yeah,
But I
well,
see your point.
I mean, tougher punishment doesn't necessarily drop crime. But we've been trying that in America for the past 40 years, and we haven't made a dent. I'm gonna be honest. Like, tough on crime doesn't necessarily solve the issues.
So the
I-
issue of poverty first.
Yeah, as my mom said, I don't know if anyone could hear her, solve the issue of poverty.
She said
before-
poverty, yeah.
Yeah, solve the issue of poverty, and that helps solve crime. And and I mean, people are less likely to be radicalized if they're not suffering. So solving poverty also significantly lowers the chance that anyone is going to be radicalized into any sort of ideology. I mean, really, it all comes down to poverty in today's world.
Right.
I kind of
Well,
agree.
What's the key to solving that, though, guys? Right? We need to give solutions to that. So,
We
like,
need
is
to give
education key?
everyone an allowance of 3 Baconators a day, and we will never have to worry again.
Sure.
No, but
sure,
seriously, Jared, though, something like the universal basic income or basic wage,
Yeah.
is that not something that could help alleviate poverty?
I think it is, and I think it's something that should be looked into, and I think we might have to go there one day when it comes to universal basic income, because, I mean, with the way the economy's going and the way our technology is, human labor is going to be a thing of the past. I truly believe that.
Mm.
Like, human labor in the
Well,
economy.
AI is coming, so
I mean, I'm not just saying AI is coming. I'm saying, like, look at, for example, look at factories. Factories are almost machine run to to the very last thing at this point. There's a few people in factories nowadays just to look after the machines. But
true.
that still leaves hundreds of thousands of people out of work.
One
Like-
person in the comments is saying some idea that I've never heard of before, but I think is really interesting. Universal basic land ownership. What do you guys think of that?
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
pretty
the
cool.
the ownership of land can really set
Yeah.
you free. And I actually have an example. A buddy of mine, the life in London wasn't really suiting him too well, and he decided to make a big change, and he bought a plot of land in Portugal. And now he lives on his own land, and he's
Yeah.
raising his own animals, and he's got his own fruit and vegetables, and he's way more happy than being stuck in an apartment block or something in London.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great,
It's
good on you,
like-
Ted. Love it.
Yeah. Good job, Ted. It's too bad Brexit happened and you're going to lose all your rights, but, I had to. I'm sorry. Brexit's
It's okay,
funny.
we forgive you, Jared.
Brexit's funny. All right, it was a self-inflicted wound. It's hilarious. Look at Amir. He's so unhappy with that.
I think the
I'm sorry.
You don't know what you're talking about, Jared.
I
You don't
know,
what you're
dude.
talking about.
I'm just making fun of it. I'm just making fun of it.
I do think the land ownership is really interesting
Yeah.
on a philosophical level, and even going back to we talk a lot about Israel Palestine here. There's this idea of like the
It's like
land of
borders.
yeah. Well, there's this idea of like the land of your ancestors should be like your land, and on both sides have this
Inherited.
idea very strongly. And I'm not there's actually like something really weird about this idea that you're entitled to something just because your grandparents had it or your great grandparents had it. What happens to people who have mixed heritage, or what happens to people who have poor ancestors? Why should rich ancestors who have land get, it's kind of funny that everybody seems like has this idea in their heads that we should all somehow, everyone has their own land.
Yeah, well, that's kind of just the way we've always thought about it, and human beings are very status quo creatures, you know what I mean? We don't like to change things too drastically all at once. Kat, I'm going to need you to stop what you're doing.
We don't like change. You're right.
I'm going to need you to stop that.
Guys, here's if you're ready to move for the next article. If you're ready to move to the next article, this is a kind of more local, but still, I think it's worth mention. I'm not sure who shared this with us from the Jerusalem Post. Arab-Israeli communities to build harmony through mixed martial arts. So this is one of the
Oh, well, that's
peace
just
building.
badass. I love that idea.
It's pretty cool, and I practiced karate for a lot of years.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm
And
gonna
I
ask you more about
wished
that. Ima,
we could mix
what do you
more
think
with
of the idea of Israeli Arab communities building themselves up through mixed martial arts? What do you think of that? She says it's a good punishment, but oh, it's
Well, it says here, I believe that Core
Some
Valley.
kind of community gathering where everybody can get in on the same thing. Yeah, sure, but on the other side, it's just like kind of like with Osama bin Laden. We trained him, and then look what happened.
yeah, but these are
Does it
mixed
say here
martial arts. We're not teaching
100,000?
them how to put together assault rifles.
That's a lot.
I know, but I mean, we gave him the knowledge, and then he
100,000.
turned around and used it against us. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think it's a good idea in theory, but then you got to look at the long-term effects. Like,
Yeah.
what if?
Yeah, but I mean, long-term effects are always.
I
gonna
like
suck,
this
so
quote right here.
we
It
should
says,
just
every
dive right
joint
in and make it
training
more fun."
is trust building. The more our youth are exposed to each other in a safe, friendly, and fun environment, the stronger the foundation for a shared society. Which is true, because
Yeah,
when you have them like connect when they're in their youth years, I think it gets easier for them to build a stronger, what do you say, foundation, it says here. But yeah, really cool. Next one, I think we have it from anash.org. Not sure what is this website. Is it an Israeli or?
I'm not too
What is it?
sure.
Let me see it.
Oh, this
Anash.org.
is
Anash.
ultra-Orthodox website.
Oh, threatens. Oh, no wonder they're talking about threatens to jail Lubovichers. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this is
I wonder if that's just
Israeli
about forcing
lawmakers
them
To jail Lubavitchers.
Yeah,
Lubovichers.
to get Lubovichers.
Lubavitchers. All right.
Basically,
Wow.
elite Fox.
So it says here, an Israeli lawmaker has introduced legislation that would make it illegal to offer a minor to perform a mitzvah such as putting on tefillin, punishable by up to 6 months in prison. I'm reading, by the way,
Well-
for those people who are not watching but listening, So
Yeah. I think everyone gets it. But,
I
yeah,
think
that's-
this is
that's-
ridiculous, to be honest
That's
with
it.
you.
Yeah, I mean,
I think this
the
is
phrasing of
pathetic.
that title is utterly ridiculous. I mean,
It's pathetic.
and I mean, honestly, it is kind of weird for a grown man to walk up to a child and be like, "Hey, let me wrap you up." Blah, blah, blah.
But that's not usually. Well,
I
I guess the way
I'm
it
joking.
happens is they have like those little booths. You know, I've seen it when they ask you to like light candles or like shake the lulav, which is like another Jewish ritual. They have these like booths, and then this part is really in Israel. I don't even know what it would be like because everyone's Jewish. But in America, the Lubavitchers, they do it here, where they'll say,
yeah.
"Oh, you look Jewish. Do you want to try this?"
Yeah, it's the same over here. Like they have little booths set up, and I mean, here's the thing about why I can get why they needed legislation against it, because they can get pretty aggressive. Like
No, but wait a
I've had
minute.
dudes follow me a couple of blocks trying to convince me to put on
Really?
tefillin. Yeah, and I just
But wait
have
a
to tell them
second.
no.
Wait a second, though, Jared. I'm fully for the freedom of religion, right? And the
Of
freedom
course.
for people to do what they want. So I think this legislation is a joke, to be honest. If you don't want to do something, you can kindly decline. No, thank you
Yeah.
very much. I don't want to do it. And you can walk on. It's just the same as any annoying salesman or somebody in the street that's like, hey, falafel for 10 shekels, come down and get. And you can be like, yeah, I want to go. Or no, I don't want. Or come
or
into
does
my
it come with
salon.
tahini?
Yeah, does it come,
Yeah,
does it come with
it comes
tahini?
with
Does it come
tahini.
with the good tahini?
It comes with the tahini. If it comes with the tahini, you know I'm there, dude.
Yeah, of course. It was that hard bracha tahini.
Sure.
I'm always there.
I'm
But
sure.
I mean, but that's also different because in a way it's kind of anti-harassment because that falafel dude, he's not gonna follow you down the street trying to convince you to buy his falafel.
Okay, I'm not for any following.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not for any
Yeah.
of that.
That's
kind of
crazy. I
behavior.
didn't
Yeah.
realize they did that.
I mean, it's not everybody. There are some people out there who are just overzealous with it, and I believe that's what this type of legislation is targeted against. Because
Yeah.
like, feel free to sit out there and offer to do a mitzvah by wrapping Jews with tefillin if you want to do that. That's great. Follow your religion. It's beautiful. But when somebody says no, leave it at that.
That's
Because
it, yeah.
because there's some levels of it
That's
that
it.
I've experienced that I would describe as a low level harassment.
So
You know.
So
Yeah.
Jared, I would agree with you like fully on that. I would also suggest that Zandberg, the woman that's trying to push this through, stop wasting your time on these kind of silly things and do your job
Yeah.
and actually tackle social issues,
It's not the same.
tackle
We
the
got-
violence issues,
Yeah.
Yeah,
tackle
how-
the food
Yeah.
issues.
why
Not
why
this silly
legislate
legislation.
specifically against religious people when you can just legislate against harassment? I don't
Yeah.
like it. That's what's weird to me. Like we all have had that Israeli shopkeeper who is
Yeah.
following you, trying to get you to
Yeah,
buy
trying to
something on
buy
Ben Yehuda
stuff.
Street.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't
Yeah.
I don't really
Um,
get that targeting.
Well, Boo, does it say what party Zandberg is a member of?
Merits.
She's merits.
Merits? Merits? Well, that just
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I was going to say merits. Like,
guys, just
Yeah.
just before I know we're going to be wrapping it up soon, putting a positive note on this stream. I just want to mention we don't have an article about it, but it's a YouTube video that I watched recently, and it's our new hoverboard that's been created.
the
And
hoverboard again.
people are literally flying around on hoverboards, going to get McDonald's, and then going to eat it on the roof of like a McDonald's.
I
So
wanna-
All right, so let me get this straight, Amir. What you're doing is you're asking our viewers to donate to the show so you can
Yeah.
get a hoverboard.
Very
Listen.
important cause.
Yeah.
Listen, if I get a hoverboard, lads, you will see me. You will see me flying over to Abood, straight over to our museum, and wiping up some Trina all day long. That would be my life. That would be my
You're
life.
welcome.
Yo, Abood,
You heard
If we
it.
just gave everyone hoverboards, everyone
Yeah.
would be happy.
I was about to say,
you
we've talked
know?
You heard
about
it.
we've talked about universal basic income, universal land ownership. Let's get universal hoverboards.
Universal.
That
I
was
agree.
All right.
That will
You
solve
heard it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to end the episode, but before we end it, notice how Amir is actually ready to buy a hoverboard just to come here and buy tahini. That's how good our tahini is. Please
It's good to hear.
have a taste. It's been really a pleasure, guys. Absolutely, it's been a really fun episode.
We're not even
Jared
sponsored.
apparently has.
I was gonna say
Jared
we're not
has-
even sponsored by your tahini, but also
I mean,
guys,
we're gonna be.
this is
We're
something.
gonna be.
This is something I hold on, because I'm gonna make this special. Here's a little gift that I bought for my granddad, but he no longer has.
Okay.
The episode is over.
Wait, Jared.
Oh,
Jared,
come
Jared.
on! I thought
Jared,
it was
look.
there.
Like, you normally have to tell me. You know what I mean?
Well, you're supposed to be able to figure out we're out of practice.
Apparently, your Thunder Strike of Righteousness is
Yeah,
not
Thunder Strike of
charged yet.
It's not
So
charged.
just-
That's right. It didn't charge all the way. I have to absorb more of the East Germanness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Hope you had an amazing day, and see you on the next one of the Open Peace Global. Have a nice one, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Jared.
It is over. Bad
Amazing.
mom. Come on.